Hi there, community. Tom and Adrienne here. We thought we would spend a few minutes sharing a little bit more about ourselves and each other. And what we're doing is we're going to leverage the platform Predictive Index, which is something that Tom and I are both certified to provide. And we thought we would show you a Leadership Beyond in action. This is one of the tools that we employ. And let's dig in and show you how it works. So the backbone of Predictive Index is the behavioral assessment, and that provides you with a self-awareness to how you prefer to show up and behave at work. What's your environment look like? What styles do you have? And so this is mine. This is my self-awareness review, and got a couple characteristics highlighted here for you all. And Tom, please jump in and add some commentary as we go along. You probably have already noticed that one of my characteristics is that I'm pretty informal. I like to just show up, have conversations, don't like the stuffy suits to wear. I'd rather be wearing jeans and a hoodie and spend more time having a conversation than worrying about what I'm showing up in as and presented like. Very people oriented, again, like to talk with people, and I'm very focused on the needs of others and how that shows up in businesses and teams and in communities. And that's a big focus around the work that I do in my business. And an interesting one is that Predictive Index says that I am moderately patient. And for many who know me very well would not describe me as a patient person, but we refer to this more as pace. And this is a little bit accurate about me. This is where I prefer to go at a very steady pace. I don't necessarily run faster than others unless I need to, but my normal preferred pace is to be a little bit slower, take some time to digest things and think things through, usually with the benefit of people as my sounding board. Tom, anything you would add before we jump in and introduce you?
Well, I think when we start talking about working together a few slides down the road, I'll make some comments, and I think that's accurate description of you. So
Great.
as we take a snapshot of me, you may notice that Adrienne and I share people first, and it's the heart of our business together. And that allows us to deal with some of the areas that we might bump up against each other to come to that value. And when you look at any strength, when it is maximized, it can become a blind spot. And so it says they're very flexible, which is true. I don't like a lot of structure, but I need more structure than I prefer. And one of the things that helps me deal with that is recognizing that the structure will help the people work together better. And so I can open up, but it's not my nature to have that much structure. And sometimes I don't bring my best to problem solving because I like harmony. And if something's not working, you lose harmony long-term, and by just letting things go that need to be fixed. So I need to be aware of the goal is harmony, but not if things are incorrect. Anything you'd like to add to that, Adrienne?
No, I think that's dead on. Great description. So let's talk about how we work together. And you say manage one another, even though we're a team and we're peers, we're still managing one another. Say more.
Yeah, so this is a tool that is very helpful. It doesn't mean all of these things are going on all of the time, but what it helps us to do is adapt strategies that bring Adrienne's best to the table and that brings Tom's best to the table. And so the one that we've circled to talk about today is give her opportunities to identify solutions collaboratively or independently as they so choose. And I would modify that slightly because at Adrienne's situation as a mom and having a couple of large accounts to work with, she only has so much time. She's highly collaborative, but I've noticed sometimes She needs space. She needs to go and think about it. She needs to do it when she needs to do it. And so I don't like when you put independence on one side and collaborative on the other, because they can work together. They can pull apart. And so highly collaborative, but in a certain situation, I need to be aware that she needs to independently come to a decision and then come back with what that is and collaborate.
Yeah, I think that's right. That and you do that so well, having this awareness about the way that I like to work, because there are times where I just need to, and a lot of this relates back to that pace, that I've got a drive for a slower pace where I need to take things back and think through it a little bit. But ultimately, I always want the benefit of talking through things with others, but it's just not constant. So sometimes I just need to go away. Not always easy to tell when I need to go away versus talk it out. So my awareness is to be able to articulate that and say, let me go away and think about this and I'll come back. Or, hey, can I call you? I want to talk through something with you. So that's my part of that equation.
I want to highlight that. Two sides to the same coin. It's my intention to notice what Adrienne needs and to provide it. But I get pretty much excited about what I'm talking about and may not see it. And when you have a level of trust, I know that Adrienne will speak up and say, wait a minute, I need this. And then I'm willing, and I think all of us need to recognize there's two sides. Flex to other people's needs, but ask for what you need.
That's right. Yeah. This is a really cool tool within the Predictive Index platform called the Manager's Guide. And as you've seen, Tom and I are not in a manager direct report relationship, but we leverage the insights from this tool to help us to work together. So this is Tom, our promoter. And just to highlight one of the strategies for working best with Tom, tell you a story around the benefit of wanting to communicate verbally rather than email or in writing. So true. Again, my pace might be to go away, review something, write it all up in an email, and share that with Tom. That will not resonate with Tom. He will call me up and say, what was in that email? Let's talk through it, right? And so being aware of that, sometimes if I know I don't have the time at the same time that Tom has time, I'll just turn on a recording, do my talking through it, send it to him, because he's receiving that communication in a way that resonates for him, and I'm able to do it in the time that I need. So another way for us to acknowledge each other's preferences and work together.
Very well said. Agree with all of it.
Yeah, cool. So another tool that we want to share with you that is provided in the Predictive Index platform is the one-to-one relationship guide. And so this gets very specific, pulling up two people's behavioral assessments and identifying strengths, cautions, and then tips. And for way of example, today for you all, we highlighted the strength that we have between us, that I am able to encourage and act as a counterbalance during times when Tom might feel frustrated by a communication. And an example of this is if we are working together with our social media specialist and Katya, who we love, and she is going on and she's explaining some task that we need to do towards an end, and she's moving very fast, and I've tracked with her on what those specific needs are because we're down into very tactical things, and Tom just nope, lost him. And I recognize that and can bring him back and explain it in a way that he reduces that frustration and he can come together. What would you add about that, Tom?
Well, I've experienced it many times, and I think what that strength is that you operate in both modalities well. And so you're able to give Katya what she needs, and you're able to bring me back into the party. And I think you do that very, very well. And I happen to know about you. You could operate in the tactical world effectively. But if there was too much of that, you would lose interest at a certain point. And so I think our partnership allows you to be big picture and then also to come in and say, we just need to focus on this. I think you do it very well and very gracefully and with humor.
Well, thank you. And we don't want you sailing off away. And we don't want me digging down into the details too much, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so we counterbalance each other very well in the moment and over time. So I'm grateful for that.
That's right. So take us through the second half of the relationship guide, cautions and tips.
Yeah, so there's two sections, as she just mentioned, which is cautions and tips. And one of the things I want to point out is if you're in an ongoing relationship, not all of this information is equally useful at a given time. And it's a good idea to glance at it before a big meeting or something, because one will come to the surface. And as we prepared this on the caution, we came up with number 2, which is Tom and Adrienne may interrupt each other or may initiate communication when it suits their own individual schedules. And again, it's a caution. That's not our intention. That's not who we are. But if you listen to what we said about our profiles, you can see how often it can come. And we could have interesting conversations that weren't a priority today. And if Adrienne has only got an hour for Leadership Beyond, I don't want to go off on something that may be interesting, or she might not even find it interesting, but I don't get that hour back. And so being aware of the caution means give space for, not every conversation has to be scheduled, but just to say, what do we need to accomplish in the hour, and not have conversations that don't support it. On the relationship tips, practicing active listening, because both of us like to talk. And the last part is more for me than for Adrienne, but just what are our clear next steps? And of course, we have Peggy and Katya. If we miss it, they'll make sure we have it. And I say banish the solo and solopreneur, because we have things in place. But I can feel if I've listened well to Adrienne, that call is successful to me, but maybe there's something we're supposed to do and I'd lose sight of it.
And that was a great teaser, Tom, because you mentioned Katya and Peggy as part of our team, and Team Discovery is another piece of the platform that we plan to share with our community so that we can see this is one-to-one relationship guide, but all of these same insights are applicable and available through the view of a team of people working together. So nice teaser there, Tom. All right, let's wrap it up. So what we'd like to do is for all of our subscribers, and we have this as a standing invitation for any new subscribers to join our community. You can see this for yourself. You can gain some of this self-awareness with the behavioral assessment. You'll receive your behavioral report. All you need to do is to subscribe to follow us and join our community of conversation. You can do that at our website, aleadershipbeyond.com. Click any of the subscribe buttons and you will receive a link to your own behavioral assessment and then forthcoming report once you take that. So thank you for joining us today. We hope that this was a nice demonstration of a Leadership Beyond in action and you got to know us a little bit better.
And I would like to end with, you may or may not have noticed it, but we divided up who was to do what. And I was probably supposed to do the last slide. And I'm only telling you this because we worked together long enough. All I did was nothing. And Adrienne won 1,000, 2, 1,000, and she drove it home. Well done. Just a joy to work with you, Adrienne. Thank you.
Likewise. We have so much fun. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.